Running a warehouse is putting out fires nonstop. You're having things like forklifts blowing lines over on one side of the warehouse. You've got people not showing up to their shifts or being sick, and you just have to deal with all these nonstop. We're going to go through 4 reports that are going to help you overcome these fires that you're putting out nonstop every day. The good news is, by implementing 4 of these reports that I'm going to go through, it's going to help mitigate these fires and help you run a smoother operation and make your day-to-day a lot easier. Number 1 is cost and productivity checks. Through my years of doing this, I've seen a lot of reports and KPIs look at one small specific side of your operations. Instead of looking at that and trying to focus in on one small detail, let's take a step back and see how the operations performing as a whole. Calculating how long it takes for labor hours to get a load away and store that and organize it in your inventory is a huge part in getting your process started. From there, I'd be looking at how long it's going to start taking to get your loads out the door. You're going to have a full picture of that cost from start to finish and how much man hours or how much cost is associated with those loads. Here's another thing that you're probably not doing that you should be is carrying costs. How long it's taking for those loads to get out the door. So seeing what the inventory is, what that turnover is of your inventory is a massive part to try and get as many goods in and out of your facility as possible. And that's what we're trying to do at the end of the day, is trying to continue to get those goods moving as fast as possible. Order fulfillment costs. Taking a look at how much it actually costs to get your goods out the door. That's one of those things that is easily missed. And by taking a look at what that time frame is and how many loads are getting out the door is going to help you. One of the things that we see that a lot of people are missing is actually how many trucks are coming and going each day. By taking a look at how many trucks are leaving, you can start seeing where are we not hitting our numbers and where are we having slowdowns throughout the week or throughout the day. That right there is an easy win to start saying, okay, we can start staffing people a little bit later on this day or at this time of day, or let's start actually spraying our loads out throughout the day to give us that efficiency we need. How you lay out your warehouse is another big part of it. Having people walk from one side of your facility to the other to go and pick or to actually get to where they need to work is a big time waste, especially when we start seeing these really, really big warehouses where it takes a long time to get from one side to another in certain areas. So instead of that, really focusing in on how long it takes for you to get from one area to another, and even start drawing those out and start measuring those. That's a big, big win. The other is even on forklifts. We're talking about walking, but also on a forklift, it's going to take time to get from one side to the other. So by having your loads closer to your staging, so you can start pulling those as they're going out or as they're coming in, and a nice area for them to actually start doing their quality control, making sure that that's there so they can put it away, is a huge part. The other one that I see a lot is not having stuff on your forks at all time. That is the biggest one. Making sure that there are goods on your forks at any given time is the easiest win. And it drives me absolutely insane when I walk through a warehouse and I see someone driving around with nothing on their forks. It is a waste of time. You should be thinking, what do I need to get to the front of the building versus what am I bringing back to store off in inventory? Easy win, and something that everyone should be thinking about at any given time. Safety is an interesting one because a lot of times people are really worried about what you actually document and what is actually there because that can come back and hurt you. However, on the other side of things, you really need to make sure that everything is documented in the right fashion. If you come in and you're getting audited for something that happened on the safety side of things, their first thing they're going to do is grab all your documentation and walk through it. If you have that all in there, it's going to save not only your time of your team, but also a lot of costs for your team. There is a lot of fees and fines that you could easily get for a missed document or missed paperwork, anything like that. And by having the right person keeping track of that, I think that's one of the big things to really think about to make sure that everything's getting documented at the right time. To go along with that is making sure that all your training is up to date. If you don't have that in there, and again, you come in and you get audited, it's going to cost you money, and it's also going to be a nightmare for you to actually go through and deal with all of that. So making sure you have the right personnel in there and have the right documentation. Shrinkage and theft. This one's a really difficult one to swallow. This really hammers your bottom line. It's Why isn't that good there at the end of the day? It's easy to kind of come in and be like, all right, so I know that, we had some damage. We're going to leave that over there and we'll backfill this order with this other pallet, let's say. Problem with that is it starts stacking. It's a snowball approach. You start doing that, you're not documenting it the right way. You're not looking at how to minimize that damage in the future. You're going to go to it and it's going to be missing 2 pallets. And it's just that snowball effect that keeps happening. The other thing that's going to happen is if you don't have really, really good organization of your inventory, you're going to start seeing pallets and things start going missing. It's not uncommon for full truckloads of goods to go missing, and you have to go through and be like, well, where did that go? I hear all the time when I start getting on demos with people, it's not that they'll come forward and say, hey, we have a problem with theft. It's, well, we like to think about theft because it could happen to us. Right there, I know that, hey, you've had a lot of issues with goods and that they get legs and start walking away. And it's not uncommon, just not a lot of people like talking about it. So getting some good reporting in of where your goods are, what the damage is, also tracking what shrinkage is. When you went to go grab that and it wasn't there, having that documentation there is really going to help your team have a better understanding of what's going on in your facility. Flow and speed reports. This just gives you an idea of how things are moving through your facility and what those bottlenecks are. When I come to a new facility, I really like walking the facility from start to finish. When those trucks come in, I want to see what that looks like. When you start putting the goods away into inventory, I want to see what that looks like, what you need to do for processing, quality control, and then shipping it out. From walking that whole path, I can start seeing where those bottlenecks happen. One of the first things I usually notice is goods being separated throughout the facility. Having inventory stored at one side and then also partially at the other side, or having inventory stored at the far side of the facility where you're not even doing your shipping and receiving. That is where dock allocation really comes into play. Having the right docks for the right loads coming in or going out is a game changer. Instead of having, your loads getting QC'd in an area that actually starts bottlenecking, choking off other dock doors, having an actual area that you can go, put those loads in there, QC them, put them away or ship them out, depending if it's inbound or outbound, will definitely help your team. The other part of it is having your inbounds come in, then you got to drive all the way to the other side of the facility for inventory and storage. And then when you actually go ship it out, you're driving all the way back to the other side of the facility just to get it out the door. Using the right dock allocation and splitting up your docks into the either inbound or outbound, that's an easy win at the beginning, or even having it for different products or customers. That really helps out your team and organizes the flow of goods, because now you can have where you're storing the inventory right beside those dock doors that are going inbound or outbound. Using some software like that is really going to help it, but even using just manual intervention of, hey, we're going to stop allowing docks 1 to 10 for inbounds and only allow those for outbounds, and the rest of them are going to be inbounds. Doing things like that are going to help you so much at the end of the day. Report number 4 is exception and error logging. The other 3 reports we're talking about was all about how to improve your process and operations. This one is monitoring how are your operations actually performing once you implemented them. Looking at real-time, up-to-date information so that you can have quick decisions to fix problems before they actually become a huge issue is really important to operations. I say this is one of the last reports that people should get into place, because you need to have your operations flowing and really well oiled before you start coming into this exception and error monitoring at the end of the day. Just like report number 3, this is really good to have some software in there to start automating this process. I'd be using something that would be able to see what's going on and then notify your team automatically. Datadocs does this really well, where you can fire off notifications or tagging certain issues before they come up. And that goes right to your team, supervisors, managers, whoever needs to know it real time, so that you're not having that wait time of someone coming up to you and then that person having to report it to someone else. This is all happening at the same time. The first one I'd be logging is pick accuracy. This can be small goods, this can be pallets, or anything in between. What you're looking at is when you're going to get that onto the truck to ship it out, what is actually there? There's so many times people are grabbing the wrong pallet or the wrong items to bring it to the front, even the stage. Every time that you bring the wrong good, that is time wasted. And that back and forth is just time that you don't need to spend. So really making sure that you're monitoring what they're bringing up. And at the end of the day, what's going on the truck. Everyone has shipped the wrong load to the wrong customer before, which is the worst thing ever, because either you got paid for that shipment to get back or you got to figure out how they're going to actually take that shipment. So making sure that that pick accuracy is correct on the whole load or partial of the load is really going to help that bottom line. Working with these 4 different reports are really going to help out your operations. You're going to see an increase of at least 20% to your bottom line of efficiency, getting loads in and out throughout the door. As you take on more and more reports, one of the easiest wins you're going to see is overtime. We have another video to deal with overtime and how to improve that at your operation.